Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, the topic of meditation. Now, unfortunately, I have to keep my voice a little bit lower because we're staying right now in an Airbnb in Tuscany, in Italy, and the rest of my family is still sleeping because it's 6, 7 in the morning. So I want to keep my voice a little bit lower as we talk about this topic of meditation. I started meditating back in August of 2022, and so it's been about a year and a half, and I've seen all the hurdles and problems and success over this last year and a half. And today my goal is to really share with you all that you really need to know so that you can walk away from this video knowing exactly why you should do this, how to do it, and like what the benefits are of meditating. So my plan is to walk through multiple different sections where we can begin by understanding the concept of mindfulness as a whole, the mental models and mindsets you need before you even start the whole process so that you can understand why you're doing this in the first place. And then a very specific step-by-step process that I follow every time I meditate, because that is what I see helps me get the most benefit out of it. And I know when I started, I didn't really know anything about it. I remember I downloaded some meditation app and I would wake up first thing in the morning and then I would put the little 3-minute video on, listen to it, and I think I'm doing it correctly, and then I'd end up just fall asleep right after I finish the meditation. I'd wake up 2 hours later and I'm like, what am I doing, right? So I want to make sure you don't fall into these traps and all these problems that most people face, because it can be this very daunting and confusing thing at first, but hopefully to this video you can walk away with a much more conceptual and better understanding of this entire topic. I want to begin by talking about the concept of mindfulness as a whole. What is mindfulness? Because it is this word that has many definitions to it, but in our context of meditating, what does mindfulness really mean? I think before we even go into what is meditation and why do you meditate and all that stuff, we can take that aside for a second and just think about, how does your mind work? So typically when we have thoughts, they can fall into 3 categories. They could be something that happened in the past, they could be something that's about to happen in the future, or they could be like a fantasy thought, like some random thought about some type of fantasy scenario that's not past or present. But typically we can even group it further down. It's just 2 boxes. If you have a thought on your mind, it's probably a thought from the past or a thought from the future, right? So for example, I might be waking up in the morning and brushing my teeth, and I might be having a memory of the restaurant I ate at last night. Or I could be thinking about, okay, today I'm going to be doing XYZ. I'm going to be waking up and making this video. I'm going to be going on a walk outside. I'm going to be going and visiting the Leaning Tower of Pisa, whatever that might be. But typically, if you just watch your mind for a little bit, you'll notice that all your thoughts are either some memory that happened in the past or some anticipation of something that's about to happen in the future. So our mind is typically always living somewhere that isn't now. And because of that, we're always excited about things in the future to such a degree that we fail to really look at what's around us. But if you really want to clear your mind of thoughts, right? I think when people think of meditation, they think of freeing themselves from their thoughts as the first thing that comes to mind, as I want to use this so that I stop thinking. I want to use this so I can turn my brain off for a period of time and tell it to just shut up. And it can help with that over time, because the goal of meditation is to keep bringing you back in the present moment. Because essentially when you're not thinking of anything in your mind, you're basically using other senses in your body to interact with the present environment around you, right? So you might not be actively thinking about something in your mind, but you'll be just present, fully present, just looking at the things around you and observing them without analysis, just hearing noises and not having to analyze them, but just observe them and notice them and feel them. And to be present is essentially the human ecstasy, because you finally shut up the monkey brain that is constantly chattering in your mind all day, thinking about all the shit from the past, all the shit from the future, and you can finally just be grounded in the right now, the present moment. And for people dealing with anxiety and depression or hopelessness or any type of negative emotion, typically when we have negative emotions, they're rarely about something at the present moment, right? You're either traumatized by some past event that keeps coming back to you. You keep thinking about the mistake you made 3 days ago that got your family mad at you, or you keep thinking about that one embarrassing moment, like when you walked in the girls' bathroom or whatever, like some random moment for you. you keep thinking about those moments from the past that keep pulling you back into that mental state, which makes you feel like traumatized or like whatever feeling that makes you feel like shit. Or you'll be very anxious about what's coming up in the future. And I can talk more about this because I feel like I fall into this boat more often, where it's like, oh my God, I have a test next block. Oh my God, I have to finish 500 things on my to-do list. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that, I have to do that. I'm neurotically planning like the next like days ahead of me. That can lead to a lot of anxiety, right? Because you're constantly thinking about things from the future, or you might fall in a zone where you're constantly thinking about things in the past. What this can help you do is to forget about all the stuff from the future, forget about all the stuff in the past, and really just take you and put you in the present moment, the right now. And that can kind of give you a sense of relaxation because now you're no longer thinking about all the other shit. I wrote down here that the best way to summarize this section is that living in the present moment equals your best life. It's that simple. So what meditation can unlock is an ability to live more in the present moment, right? So we'll go into, in the third part of the video, we'll go into a full description of how you actually do it, but at a very broad level summary, it's a process of being present in the moment, so focusing on things that allow you to be present, noticing every time your mind goes off track to like a different place or like starts thinking about something, and then how you can bring yourself back to the present moment, right? Now, there are a lot of misconceptions with meditation. People believe that you start meditating, first of all, they know it's going to be hard, and because it's going to be hard, they don't want to do it in the first place, right? And then when they think it's like, okay, if you know what, it's hard, but I'll do it anyways, I'll just try it out. When one session in, they're not feeling like they're nirvana or God, or they do like a 3-minute session and they're wondering why they're still stressed about the math test. Like, it's not some kind of immediate effect thing where like you meditate and you're like, oh, I'm free now. Like, it's not how it works. You're not going to start like levitating every time you like start meditating. And even if you do it for like a week or 2 weeks, it's hard for you to see much difference immediately. So people see that, okay, there's no immediate success, so why am I doing this in the first place? And I don't really blame people for that, because that is honestly the mindset that's been fed to us in pretty much everything, that everything in our life is so fast, right? We can instant text messaging, instant access to anything on the internet, instant transportation. With all this instantness in our life, we expect everything to just be plant and harvest, right? That you can just plant the seed and harvest it today. And that's the reason for that is a lot of like the individualistic culture that's been fed to us through this media and our day-to-day lives. But this is a very new mindset, because before, people didn't have the plant harvest mindset because there wasn't readily able to access these kind of fast things, and people would be in the plant cultivate harvest mindset, where you plant the seed, you spend 6 months tending to it, and then you see the results later on. I'm telling you right now, if you want something that's going to work in 2 seconds, this is not the video for you, because you need to understand that for this to actually work, you need to be willing to give it a lot of time. You know, you might see results in a month, you might not see it for a year and a half, it doesn't matter. But I can tell you that the slide edge really takes off. And the slide edge is basically this concept where you do small little decisions every day that compound to a huge effect afterwards, right? The idea that small things lead to exponential results, both on a positive trend and a negative trend, right? Eating a McDonald's burger is not going to give you a heart attack and kill you now, but slowly you start having one every day. You can imagine where this guy will be 10 years from now after eating McDonald's every day for his life, versus a guy that sits in his morning and meditates for 3 minutes every morning. That's it, just 3 minutes. And think about where he'll be 10 years from now. Very high up. The slide edge takes off, and it's a compounding effect. And when you get the ball rolling, the momentum just keeps going. And then you'll look around you and you'll notice the difference between you and people around you. Because then you'll see that, oh my God, they're so neurotically stressed about shit. And you're just sitting there like nothing bothers you. Nothing, right? So you need to be willing that before we even go to how to do this, I want to distill the notion that this is going to be an easy process, because it won't be, right? You will be days where you don't want to do it, but you'll go wake up in the morning and do it anyways, because you need to promise yourself that the rewards of living in the present moment, the rewards of freeing yourself from the mind, like wherever in life you might be, right? I think we're constantly in a process of trying to free ourselves from one thing or the other, right? People work jobs so they can free them of monetary problems, right? But there's always different degrees to which you can free yourself, and this is just another piece of it. If you're not willing to do the work now, I think at some point in your life, it will be essential for you to do so. And considering I did this right now, like in the last year and a half of my life, I'm telling you, it is 100% worth it. So trust the slight edge, trust the compound effect, and just do your job every morning, right? And we'll go into how long you have to meditate for. Like for me, I've been doing it for 20 minutes every morning for like a long time now. And there have been times where I've been on and off, right? When I started, I was doing it for 3 minutes in the morning, then 5, then 10 minutes in the morning, right? And I have like a script that I listen to, so it's not like you have to do it yourself, right? There's 100 resources I can give you, so that's not the problem. It's not like a lack of resources or access that's a problem, or how to do it, because it's really easy to learn how to do it. But the hard part is the willingness to endure the hard moments, right? Because people will say that, oh yeah, I can meditate and stuff, but I'll do it at some point, I'll do it later, and they just push it back and push it back. You can tell like the type of people they are if they just want to keep pushing it back. And when they know it's important, like if there's someone who doesn't know it's important for them, if there's someone who doesn't even know the concept of it or how to do it or why to do it, then we can give them some slack because they have a lack of knowledge. But if there's someone who knows that it's good for them and yet they still push it back, you can tell the type of character traits that they have. Is that someone that really you want yourself to describe? Considering you've watched like an 11-minute video so far where I've literally just talked to you in your face about how you do this concept, and you already learned all this knowledge about mindfulness and how your mind works. If you don't do it, then that's not because you don't have enough information. It's because you don't have the correct mindset and gritness to be able to endure the difficulty of doing this process. And I think that's an important section, because that's all it really is. I can sit here and talk to you for like 17, 20 minutes about, how all the little tricks and tips on how to do it. But really the hardest part of doing it is just doing it. Just getting up and doing the work every single morning and not missing a single day. And you'll miss a day, so don't want to beat yourself over it. But really the consistency of it, you want to stay consistent with it, because that is the root to your success. But with that being said, I want to give you a full guide on how to actually do it, right? So I've talked about this before, but there's a 4-step process that I use when I meditate. So first of all, the app that I use for meditation is an app called Medita, which is a 100% free app, which has a shit ton of like different recordings on there and different types of meditations. You can click on that. I'll have a link in the description. Hopefully I don't forget to put like the link in the description of the card above, but you can search it up on the app store on your phone, like Medita. But you can even just go on YouTube and search like 20-minute, or you don't have to start with 20 minutes. I think you should start with like 5 minutes, for example, right? Go on YouTube, search up like 5-minute mindfulness meditation, no music, or you can do like 5-minute presence meditation or 5-minute breath meditation. Right? There's all these different types of meditation, but they're all the same thing, right? All with the goal to help ground you in the present moment, right? So when we talk about how to actually do it, there's not one universal code that you can follow to do it, right? Because there are many different goals people have for meditation, right? People meditate for their soul or for productivity, but we're solely focusing on the ability to be present in the present moment, right? Which will have other benefits as well, because you'll be more at peace with your soul and all that shit, but you will also be more focused. You'll also be able to have better conversations with people because you're more grounded in the right now when you're speaking to them, instead of lost in some other world in your mind. So you'll still get all the other benefits of it. But the full guide on how to do it is that I follow this 4-step framework. So I will listen to a script, so they'll keep reminding you on different like ways you can focus in the present moment. But the goal is to start by focusing on the present moment, right? So you can think about following your breath. That's the most common way to do it, because there's so many ways you can kind of follow your breath, right? You can feel the air going in and out of your nose. You can feel your chest expanding. You can feel your stomach expanding. And by doing all these things, you'll be able to focus on something that's right now, like a singular like focus point, like an anchor, because by using that as an anchor, you'll be able to kind of keep bringing your attention back to the singular thing, right? Because it's very easy to do that. But then as you advance, you can expand your awareness to more things in the present moment, right? Like you can be thinking about the sensations in your body. You can be following like a body scan, like feeling the sensations from your feet all the way up to your head and then back down again. You can focus on sounds in your environment, right? Another misconception is that you need to be in some perfect, serene, peaceful environment. Honestly, I have better meditations when there's sound around, right? So if there's people talking in the other room, or there's music playing outside, like it was one day because there was some event going on outside. The goal is not like to just be completely silent or anything like that. It's just for the goals of our purpose today, for presence, the goal is to just focus on like, things around you, right? If that's music playing outside, that's music playing outside. If it's your mom making food in the kitchen, it's your mom making food in the kitchen. Like it's whatever sound is around you, whatever your breath is like, whatever the sensation in your body are like. So you want to, the first step is just to keep staying as focused as possible on the present moment, right? So your breath, sound, sensations. You can also go into feelings, so you can kind of observe like how your body feels, like emotions. You can observe those emotions as well, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So you want to, there's 100 ways you can focus in the present moment, right? You can focus on the feeling in your mouth, like for example, like it could be anything, but anything that is here in the right now. The second step of this is that your mind will naturally start to think about things, right? And I think another misconception is that people think that meditating will just clear their mind of thoughts. But again, the goal is to really like observe your thoughts. So you're going to be meditating, you're going to enter the second stage of meditation, and that will allow you to the second step is when your mind starts to think about something, right? And you won't have much control over it because your mind will do it on its own. You might be 7 seconds in and your mind is already thinking about something for the future, something of the past. And the goal is not really to like, I think over time you will eliminate the amount of times you think about something, but the goal is that really over time you'll become more and more aware of every time you are thinking about something, right? So over time, like now when I think about something, I realize it almost immediately, right? But for a long time, I would start thinking about something and think about it for like 3 minutes straight before even realizing that shit, I wasn't supposed to be thinking about that. So I get stuck on step two, which is when your mind naturally starts to think about things, right? 7 seconds in, 8 seconds in, 30 seconds in, it doesn't matter. Your mind will start to think about things. The third step is when you realize that you're thinking about it and you tell yourself you shouldn't be thinking about it, right? And the fourth step, basically refocus on the present moment. And in that step, you'll basically tell yourself, okay, I'm meditating here. I think about the plans I have for today. Okay, I realize I was thinking about that. I shouldn't be thinking about that. I label it in my mind as like, okay, thinking or future. Then I come back to the present moment. Oh, I'm thinking about the memory from last night. Okay, I shouldn't be thinking about that. Okay, step four, refocus back. And the process of refocusing back is what you're looking for, because that process is what's going to, when you're walking about your day, that habit of refocusing on the present moment is what's going to help you to free yourself from your thoughts. It's not that you'll naturally just eliminate the thoughts in your mind over time, but what will happen is that with time, you'll be able to get a lot better at refocusing on the present moment every time you get distracted, right? So it's been pretty long, so I want to keep it at just that today. We discussed like the concept of mindfulness and like how to meditate, like, the full step-by-step process. I know that there's so much more we can talk about here, so I'll definitely have more videos in the future that we go into like more and more like strategies that you can use, but for now this is a good enough base. So go download that app and do your first 3-minute session tomorrow morning. Peace.